Caitlin Clark is a name that has brought the WNBA to the center of sports media arguments. The former Hawkeyes has been drawing hype before even entering the league, and after a few games in it, she's slowly beginning to show she's worth all the hype. But of course, when you're that white hot, you're bound to catch some serious heat from the bitter vets too. I'm talking from hard fouls and cheap shots to sultry sound bites questioning her talent or even trying to diminish her shine. It's been an open season on tearing down the rookie phenom, and the drama's only getting crazier by the day. But before we get to that, you better like and smash that subscribe button right now to enjoy more super hot takes. This whole Caitlin Clark situation in the WNBA has been a straight-up mess. Look, the girl's talented, no doubt about it. Breaking scoring records in college, drawing massive crowds, she's a baller, plain and simple. And you'd think that kind of star power would be a godsend for the WNBA, right? More eyes on the league means more revenue is rolling in to finally pay these ladies what they deserve. But of course, it's never that simple. From the moment Clark got drafted, there's been this undercurrent of resentment, jealousy, and downright hatred from some of the other players. First up, we want to talk about Angel Reese. Her situation is just the latest twist in the Caitlin Clark drama fest. As if the alleged jealousy and resentment towards Clark wasn't deep enough in college, as professionals now it only seems to continue. In a regular season matchup between their teams, Reese appeared to slightly shove Caitlin to the ground over a rebound. This received mixed feelings, as Clark did seem to exaggerate the contact in order to draw a foul. And then, when asked about the growth of the WNBA, Reese made sure to highlight that herself, not just one person, Caitlin, should be credited for the increased attention the league has been receiving.
I'll take that role. I'll take the bad guy role, and I'll continue to take that on and be that for my teammates. And if I want to be that, and I know I'll go down in history, I'll look back in 20 years and be like, yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
Rightfully so, as Angel's contribution to the overall interest in the league cannot be overlooked. But the comments did seem to have an envious undertone that was quite obvious. Another incident we want to talk about is the Kennedy Carter saga. Reese's teammate Kennedy Carter on the Chicago Sky got in on the act with a vicious foul that was upgraded to a flagrant after the fact. In what was an unnecessary play, Kennedy's seen shoving Clark to the ground, with the ball having not even been inbounded yet. The shove sparked criticism from media personalities and fans. The two players had been chirping at one another throughout the game and in previous plays. Stephen A. Smith was quick to weigh in, as per usual, speculating that some of these WNBA vets are straight up threatened by Clark's meteoric rise and the fact that she's suddenly the new face of the league. In his mind, it's all rooted in petty jealousy over her accomplishments and the tidal wave of attention and hype she's riding. Shannon Sharp also displayed his distaste for how the former Iowa guard has been treated since entering the WNBA.
Instead of being like, man, more people are talking, more people, think about it. The game that the Las Vegas Aces played against with Caitlin Clark, the tickets were triple that a regular season game than what they were in the finals. Now you tell me what that is.
Yeah.
I mean, let's call a spade here. The way some of these players are going after Caitlin is just unacceptable. A hard foul here, a shove there, a comment here, it's getting out of hand. The league needs to get a grip before this escalates even further. The last thing the WNBA needs is their big new marketing asset getting her career derailed by bitter players taking cheap shots. There's Lexi Brown of the LA Sparks and co-host on Gil's Arena, who stirred up drama with comments she made towards the WNBA's new it girl. According to Brown, she herself totally could have put up the same gaudy scoring numbers as Clark if only she'd been given that same level of green light back in her college days. As if her historic tear through the NCAA record books was just some product of preferential treatment rather than, sheer freaking talent and an unparalleled killer instinct. Nope. According to Brown, it was mostly about the system doing Caitlin favors by putting the entire offense in her hands. Never mind the fact that most coaches would gladly sell their soul to have a transcendent score like that to build around. Clark wasn't just gifted that featured role, she damn well earned it by dropping 30 piece after 30 piece from the jump. But I guess Brown wants us to believe that if only her own coaches had been smart enough to unleash her the same way, she'd have been rewriting the record books too. I guess we'll never know. Then there's Victoria Vivians of the Seattle Storm. Vivians got into a heated verbal altercation with Clark during their game that escalated into a full-on confrontation. After coming off a screen and training at 3, Caitlin can be seen trash-talking the Seattle Storm player, and this obviously wasn't well appreciated. Just imagine it, 2 grown-ass women jawing at each other on the court like a couple of kids in the schoolyard. And of course, the Zebras had to step in and slap them both with technical fouls to try and regain some semblance of professionalism. But the damage was already done at that point. After the dust settled, Clark was talking about feeling battered, both physically and emotionally. Can you even imagine? She's out there living her hoops dreams while simultaneously helping all parties involved, but it's like they've all decided that instead of celebrating this incredible talent that could elevate the entire WNBA, they'd rather just try to tear her down, both literally and figuratively. An ugly display of pettiness that has absolutely no place in any professional sports league. Wow. Just when you thought things couldn't get any messier, the latest Caitlin Clark drama is centered around her absence from the 2024 Women's Basketball Olympic roster. After being selected as the #1 overall pick in this year's WNBA draft and being a serious marketing ticket for the WNBA, you'd think that the league and the committee would seize on this opportunity to continue to generate as much attention to women's hoops as possible, and therefore include Clark on the team representing the red, white, and blue in Paris. But for some bizarre reason, the Olympic Committee decided to leave her off the roster entirely. Predictably, this decision has had fans and talking heads in an uproar. They're calling it a snub, which is just a nice way of saying the committee did Caitlin dirty. I mean, I get having a deep talent pool, but not having her on the team smells like some petty politics if you ask me. At the end of the day, Clark is an undeniable hooper. It just reeks of them hating on the new generation of stars trying to show out on the biggest stage. According to the esteemed sportscaster Dan Patrick, Caitlin not making the US roster is a total non-surprise. She's just not one of the top 12 players in the country at this stage. Forget that she just spent her college career rewriting the entire NCAA record book. Apparently that doesn't measure up to the likes of other young stars like Erika Gumbawale, who removed her own name from consideration due to politics she herself experienced during competition to make the team. Included in those 12 players is perhaps the GOAT in WNBA history, Diana Taurasi. Taurasi also hasn't been too supportive of the Indiana Fever star. Since becoming a household name, Caitlin has seen several petty shots come her way from Taurasi. This time, when asked about Clark not being included on the Olympics team, unlike her when she first came out of college, Taurasi had this to say.
And tell me if I'm wrong, weren't you named to the roster as soon as you graduated, right? You were young.
Yeah, after I won 3 national championships in a row, I was named.
Jeez.
So, as you see, ever since she stepped foot in the WNBA, it's been open season on trying to diminish Clark's achievements, rain on her parade, you name it. So, despite being one of the most electrifying offensive talents in the league, is it really that much of a shock that she was frozen out of the Olympic squad in favor of some of the more established vets? The answer still somehow remains a yes. The decision is still mind-boggling considering the opportunity for growth that will not be capitalized on. Here they have a chance to really sell this sport to a massive international audience by showcasing your shiny new star talent, but instead, they'd rather stick with the same familiar names and preserve the status quo. Talk about a missed opportunity. Caitlin has chosen to focus on her game and not engage in off-court discussions that stir up the pot, and simply congratulated those that made the team, stating that she's even more motivated to make the next one. Her commitment to her teammates and her focus on winning is still the top priority. When a reporter asked about her name being weaponized for racism and misogyny, she responded, "I don't see it. Basketball is my job. Everything on the outside, I can't control that. I'm just here to play basketball. I'm trying to help my team win." Dejanay Carrington of the Connecticut Sun took to X to give her reaction to Clark's comment, saying, "Don, how can one not be bothered by their name being used to justify racism, bigotry, misogyny, xenophobia, homophobia, and the intersectionalities of them all is nuts. We all see this shit. We all have a platform. We all have a voice, and they all hold weight. Silence is luxury." To this, Caitlyn then responded saying, "Everybody in our world deserves the same amount of respect. The women in our league deserve the same amount of respect. People should not be using my name to push those agendas. It's disappointing. It's not acceptable. Just treating every single woman in this league with the same amount of respect is just a basic human thing that everyone should do." So, there you have it. Thanks for watching, and let us know what you think about the whole situation involving Caitlin Clark, and if you think she should have been included in the 2024 USA Women's Olympic Basketball squad.